I can't describe how much I want to feel wanted. You cannot top the feeling of being wanted by somebody else. It's so good. I grew up, and whenever I would hang out in a group, I always felt like the one member of the group. And if I wasn't there, like, nobody would give a shit.
This is already giving me some good insight into how he's been manifesting these experiences, but I'll let him continue a little more before I interject any further.
I never really felt like a core member of a group, you know? And then sometimes, like I get little glimpses of the feeling from different people that they actually enjoy my presence. It's crazy. And it feels so good. And then it's gone. It's so fleeting.
It feels fleeting because it's a dopamine hit. It's like a sugar spike that inevitably falls as quickly as it rises. And I get it. It does feel good to feel wanted, and everyone wants to love and be loved in return. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just going to give you some advice through the lens of what I teach. Whether you take that on or not, whoever's watching this, totally up to you. And part of the reason why it's a fleeting moment of feeling wanted, that people genuinely enjoy spending time with you, is because your fears start to creep in. What's probably actually happening in most of those instances is that the moment isn't brief at all. It's just that you've started to project your fears onto the moment, and that is what you are now experiencing because that's the lens through which you are looking at that event. It could be that you're unlovable, that people misunderstand you, that you're not enough. It could be that for people like me, these moments don't last.
It's a brief second where I feel desired, you know? And I cannot overstate the mental benefit of feeling desired.
Human connection is definitely good for your mental and your physical health. We are community-based creatures. Going into situations with people from this place of needing them to validate you, make you feel a certain way, instead of giving those things to yourself, then the fleeting dopamine hits chip away at you more and more over time, which is actually not great for your mental health.
But it's something I feel like you don't talk about that much. Because you don't want to sit in front of people and be like, I want to be wanted.
And when you tell people that you want to be wanted, that is kind of coming from a manipulative place. You're hoping that if you tell people that, for the most part, if you can detach from the result of saying it, it can work in your favor. But if you're saying it from a place of, which usually is not consciously, but subconscious manipulation, of hoping that if you say that people will want to want you or show you that they want you more, it's usually going to backfire. A lot of pressure to put on a moment or a person, and it's projecting out that you're not wanted. Otherwise, why would you feel the need to try to make someone want you? And again, this is usually happening on a level that's outside of your conscious awareness. There are ways to reprogram this, and I'll get to that. So,
I don't want to feel wanted in a somebody swiped right on my Pixabay. I want to feel wanted in it's 2 a.m. and I get called because someone wants to see me right then.
I feel like what he means here is that he wants to kind of feel like someone can't get him off their mind to the point of they can't sleep, and therefore they have to call him at 2 a.m. and I get that. For most of you who are manifesting specific people, romance, love, right? Those 2 a.m. text messages are not for that reason. Because I know you all know what I mean by that, I'm just going to say that what it's projecting out then is that you're not a priority to them because you're not prioritizing yourself if you're allowing someone to meet up with you last minute and not make plans with you ahead of time, for example.
I dated a couple people, and I think each time I've tried to tell myself that what I was feeling was like that real kind of love, but it hasn't. It's like hurt me in the long run. I don't know. My standards are so low now.
I mean, he said it right there. He's been hurt, and so he's lowered his standards because he ultimately doesn't think that he's worthy of the kind of love that he wants. He got hurt, and he thinks if he lowers his standards, he's more likely to be wanted by someone. You lower your standards, that is telling you subconsciously where you believe your worth lies at the moment. If you truly believed that you were worthy of more, then you wouldn't settle for less than what you believe you are worth.
Like, I don't know, I've been packing all day. Somebody texted me right now, that would make my whole day. I live alone, I do a lot of stuff alone. I feel like most people's days are completely not impacted by my existence at all. Which is a bit of a bleak statement, but it's something that you kind of start to think when you're lonely and you spend a lot of time by yourself. Sometimes I try to trick myself by turning on Do Not Disturb on my phone so I can pretend like it's my choice that I'm not talking to anybody, but then I turn off Do Not Disturb like 2 hours later and I have no messages, so that's always a bit of a bummer.
Again, with the Do Not Disturb, it's like you're hoping to be surprised, which is projecting out that you're not, otherwise you wouldn't need to hope that you would be. And you want people to wonder why you haven't messaged them back yet, which again is subconscious manipulation. This is not to shame anyone. I've felt this way before. I know that at this time of the year it can be really tough for people. It can feel very lonely. I don't know if this person will even ever see this video, and the intent is not to make them feel bad about how they're going about their life because they're unaware of how they're getting in their own way. I'm simply giving you all an example based on what this person has chosen to put out publicly as to how you could be getting in your own way if you sort of think or feel the same way that they do about similar situations, how that could be coming about, and what you could potentially do to turn that around and experience things in a way that feel better to you. Longer than I planned for it to be, but if you check out the second pinned video on my page, I will go through the cheat codes that help reprogram this so that you naturally take action differently, naturally see things through a more inline lens of what you want to be experiencing, and are therefore less likely to self-sabotage. Merry Christmas.